Luos call them Omuga. In Kikuyu, they are known as Munyi. My Maasai brothers refer to them as Emu. In Meru, watu wa Meru refer to them as Mpuria. Waswahili nao wanawaita kifaru au vifaru kwa wingi. Yes, I'm talking about the rhinos. Today, September 22nd, is the World Rhino Day. A day marked every year, not just to celebrate all the species of rhinos, but to highlight their importance, the challenges they are facing that if you are not careful, might lead to their extinction, and what you, I, and all of us can do to make sure that we don't lose the rhinos that we have. Well, joining me today to help us understand more about these wonderful, magnanimous, medieval or dinosaur-like species is none other than the Lewa Wildlife Conservancy's Rhino Monitoring Officer, Mr. Ken Onzere, the Rhino Man, all the way from England, Umwami himself. Asante sana Bwana Ken. Handshake hapana. Sanitize. Let us sanitize, right? Yeah. Because we are, I need to sanitize as well.
These are not normal times.
These are not normal times. Yes. We need to make sure that we fight this virus completely.
Yes.
Yes. Asante sana Bwana Ken for joining us to help us understand more about these wonderful species that we work with.
Yes.
So first things first, what drove you to become a wildlife expert and say rhino specialist in this case?
Right now I could be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I used to dream of becoming one.
Yes.
Primary school, in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I had even selected as medicine as a course to take after high school.
Mm-hmm.
But there is this one trip to Hell's Gate National Park that changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
After coming, interacting with wildlife, seeing how they behave, and then talking to the park guys, actually I felt like I need to get in this profession.
Mm-hmm.
After finishing high school, I went for revision of courses and chose wildlife management. And lucky enough, I was able to join the University of Eldoret, and I took a course in wildlife management.
Mm-hmm.
Then between 2012 and 2014, when poaching escalated in the country, at that time I was at Nairobi National Park on my field attachment.
Yes.
And then at this time I wanted to find out why are people killing these animals? Why is poaching rising so fast?
Mm-hmm.
So I told myself after studies I would find a job in a conservation area, and then do research on this, monitor rhinos, and that is what I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One hell of a journey, right?
Yeah.
You come from the western part of the country.
Yes.
Are there rhinos there?
There are no rhinos in Western Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
The nearest park or area is Ruma National Park. That's where you can find rhinos, and that is in Nyanza. So in Western Kenya, rhinos, yeah.
Yeah. So one point that we need to stress on is Ruma National Park is in Homa Bay County. That is my home county. So that means we are doing a good job.
You are proud of your county.
I'm proud of my county.
Yes.
But not that proud because years ago we are told various animals, wildlife used to roam the landscape. But we lost quite a number of them. So now we have names of places named after animals, but the current generation doesn't know whether those animals were there or actually there or not. But the older generation, at least,
Yeah. So they need to pass that knowledge.
yes. So we need to talk about these things more and more often.
Yes.
We are told that there are a number of species of rhinos.
Yes.
Yes. How many species do we have?
In the world, there are 5 species
Yes.
of rhino.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 are in Asia and 2 are in Africa.
Yeah.
So the 3 in Asia, we have the Javan rhino, the Sumatran rhino, and the greater one-horned rhino, also known as the Indian rhino.
Yes.
Then in Africa, we have 2 species. We have the black and white rhinos. Yeah, and they have, each has subspecies. For the white rhino, there are 2 subspecies, the northern white rhino and the southern white rhino. The northern white rhino, there are only 2 left in the world. So they are not doing well. Now, coming to the black rhino, there are only 3 subspecies remaining. We have the South Central black rhino, the Southwestern black rhino, and then in East Africa we have the Eastern black rhino. Yeah.
So, to recap, we have 5 species.
Yes, there are 5 species.
3
in Asia and 2 in Africa.
And 2 in Africa.
Yes.
Then the 2 in Africa are black and white.
Black, yes.
Then black and white rhinos, we have subspecies.
They have subspecies.
Let's focus on the rhinos in Africa.
Yes.
What is the difference between the black and white rhinos?
Some people think that the difference is in their color. Like for the white rhinos, they are white in color. Black rhinos are black in color. That's not the difference. The difference is in their feeding or their habits. For the white rhinos are grazers and black rhinos are browsers. Yeah.
Is there any difference physically that makes one, the white rhinos grazers and then the black ones browsers?
Yes, there are differences. Like for white rhinos, their mouth is adapted to feeding on grass materials. And for the black rhino, the mouth is adapted to feeding on browse materials. For example, the white rhino, the mouth is wide. You can see from this skeleton how his mouth is wide. Yeah.
From here to here.
Yes. And then for the black rhino, it's hook-lipped shapes. So this lip forms like it's a hook.
So it looks like a finger.
Yes, an adaptation for feeding on branches, tree leaves, shrubs, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So where then did the names white and black come from? If the difference is not in the color.
The name, some people say the name white rhino came from South Africa, where the Dutch used to call it wide mouth. So some people did not get the word correctly and thought it was white. So it was a confusion between white and white. Yes.
Yeah. So it's just like in your vernacular.
Yes, like we confuse D and T.
D and T.
Yes, like some people will tell you T for dog, T for dog.
T for dog.
Yes.
Like T for Tony.
Yes.
T for dog.
Yes.
So there was that confusion between D and T. Why white instead of white?
Yes.
That's really interesting.
Yes.
So what if I'm looking at the rhinos from a distance? I'm not able to see the mouth.
From a distance, you can use the back. Yeah, like for the black rhino, it's curved inside. Yeah, but for the white rhino, you can see this like hump here at the back.
Oh, so that is a hump.
Yes, so you can see this is a white rhino. That's because of this.
The hump.
Yeah.
So and then for the black rhino now,
it's curved.
It's curved.
Yes.
Kind of goes. Okay.
You can also differentiate with the horns. Like for the white rhino, the horns are square shaped. Yeah.
Like that.
Yes, they are square shaped. But for for black rhinos, it's rounded.
Okay.
Yes.
So you look at the base of the horn, the white rhinos square, and then black rhinos round.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's really, really interesting. You've talked about the population, the rhino population as not doing well regarding conservation or taking care of the rhinos.
Yes.
And their population coming down.
Yes.
Something must be behind this.
Yeah.
Before you tell us what is leading to decline in the population, tell us about the trend.
Yeah, for example, if you can use the black rhino, we used to have so many black rhinos back in the 1960s. But for around 20,000 black rhinos. But these rhinos were reduced to less than 400 in the country, so you can imagine the downward trend. So, but since then, the government has taken various measures to ensure that the population increases. And currently, the population has more than doubled, like from less than 400, and now we are now getting to about 800 rhinos, black rhinos in the country.
800 black rhinos in Kenya.
Yeah, so about 800, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And then we have southern white and the northern white.
Yes.
You say the northern white rhinos, there are only two.
There are only two left
In the whole world?
Yes.
And the two are here in Kenya?
Yes.
Right? And the southern white, how many do you have approximately?
South white rhinos, majority of the population is in South Africa.
Yes.
Then there is the population in Kenya, about 600, above 600.
Yeah.
Then we have the population in Uganda. So it's roughly about 20,000 southern white rhinos.
Yeah.
You know, southern white rhinos are native to South Africa, but they were introduced to Kenya and Uganda. But for the northern white rhinos, there are only two left in the world, and those are two females at our Old Pajeta Conservancy in Kenya. And these two females, they have their own challenges. They cannot conceive. One, she's too old enough to be pregnant, and the other one has uterine conditions. Yeah, so those are the challenges we are having with the two.
So the population has reduced to that extent?
Yes.
And now there are these challenges that technically, from your description, means we've lost the northern white rhinos.
We've not really lost, because scientists are trying to find a way of bringing the population back.
So before we understand further what's being done,
Yes.
let's step back a little bit and understand more about what is causing this decline in population.
Yeah, there's several challenges, but the main challenge to these rhinos is poaching.
Poaching.
Yeah, we are standing next to a skeleton of a southern white rhino.
Yes.
This rhino was killed here at Lewa by poachers in 2013. That is December 2013. And you see, she was an adult female at 32 years. Yeah, she had given birth to 10 calves. Now, yes, now she was carrying the 11th calf. The calf is here. So this rhino was killed because of the horns. Such a sad story.
Wow.
And you see, these are two rhinos that were killed at that particular time.
So this particular day, two rhinos lost their lives.
Yes.
One before getting the opportunity to see the world.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And this is because of the horn.
Yes.
So what do people do with the rhino?
Rhino horns, the market is in Southeast Asia, and they use horns for various purposes. One, for ornaments. Second, medicinal purposes. They use rhino horns for, they believe that rhino horns can cure fever. And secondly, they use it as an aphrodisiac.
Wow.
Yes.
Aphrodisiac in this case is like mukombero.
Yes, remember the plant we have, the roots.
Back in the western part of the country.
Yes, we.
And yeah. Also, for those who don't understand mukombero, what does mukombero do?
Mukombero is an aphrodisiac.
Aphrodisiac. In order to function.
To get the appetite.
So people think rhino horn plays the same role.
Yes.
Is it true?
It's not true, because rhino horn is made up of keratin, which is the same materials as human nail hair. So if we think in that line, then we can use our nails and the hairs for the same purpose.
So instead of what we find in our nails, the keratin,
yes,
is what we find in the rhino horn.
Yes.
So that means we can go to the barber shop, shave, and
you are given back your hair, and then you can boil or dry it and use it as an aphrodisiac if you want.
And some of us chew our nails.
I also chew my nails. I don't use nail cutter.
You don't use nail cutter?
Yes.
Have you ever felt, like your nails give you some power?
Nothing.
Nothing. So that just goes to prove that rhino horn cannot function as an aphrodisiac.
It cannot. Yeah.
It has no medicinal value.
No medicinal value.
So apart from
it's just a belief. Yes.
It's just a belief.
Yeah.
So people believing that it's working.
Yes.
When it's actually not working.
Yes.
Apart from poaching.
Yes.
Do we have any other challenges leading to decline in the rhino population?
We have other challenges like habitat destruction or degradation. You realize currently we are having like in Kenya, we're having small isolated populations because there is no enough land to be used for conservation purposes. Most of it has been encroached or converted to other land uses like agriculture. So you find there is no enough space for these animals to thrive.
So technically,
yes,
poaching And then land degradation, habitat fragmentation.
Yes.
These are all as a result of human behavior,
All these are human causes.
So it basically means that we are the main cause.
Yeah, to the decline of these species.
Decline of the rhino population.
Yes, yeah.
So apart from the two you've mentioned, do you have any other challenges?
We have other challenges like predation, although adult rhinos are not prone to predation, but the babies, or rather the calves, are mostly they are predated on by lions, hyenas, leopards, wild dogs. Yeah. Then we have other smaller problems like diseases. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they are not to the large extent like poaching and habitat fragmentation.
So that means we need to blame ourselves more.
Yes.
But then we have the ability to do something, right?
We can do something.
Worst case scenario.
Yes.
Let's say we've lost all the rhinos.
Yes.
What is likely to happen?
Rhinos are important. They have the economic value and the ecological value. Looking in terms of economic and tourism. Tourism is the second highest income earner to Kenya after agriculture. So tourism will be affected. Secondly, these species it serves as a rallying point for conservation. So if you conserve these species, you're also conserving other species. Money derived from tourism that's meant to conserve these species is also used on other species, so they also benefit. Then also the other ecological values these species place in the habitat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we lose all the rhinos, Kenya's economy is likely to suffer.
Yes.
And also ecologically, the other species.
Other species will also suffer.
Yeah.
Yes. Look at Lewa. Lewa is known for what? For rhinos.
Yes.
But the rhinos are not only they are not the only species.
Yes.
In Lewa, the other species.
Yes.
So by conserving rhino, the other species who are benefiting. Yes.
So they're likely to thrive when the rhinos are there.
Yes.
What is being done to make sure that we do not lose all the rhinos we have here?
What was done by the government, when the population went to below 400 individuals, there was ban on hunting. Hunting was legalized in Kenya. So since then, you can see from the video you've seen the President Moi, Kibaki, Uhuru, when they banned, destroying the horn stockpiles. Yeah, so that they don't get into the market.
Yes.
Yeah, that is one measure that's being done. Security has been beefed up around protected areas. The areas have been fenced with an electric fence. Then anti-poaching teams have been set up to protect these species. The other area that's being focused on is the biological management aspect, and this simply means managing the population to ensure that it increases rapidly.
Yes.
Yeah, because the overall goal of the vision of Kenya Wildlife Service is to have more than 2,000 black rhinos in the country.
More than 2,000.
Yes, so if all these things are put together, security, biological management, there is enough finance, there is communication and engagement with partners and communities.
Yes.
That is what is being done to ensure that this population grows rapidly. Yeah.
And then there is also an Act of Parliament.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Something about it?
The Conservation and Wildlife Management Act of 2013 has put in punitive measures, punitive clauses, that if one commits an offense related to endangered species or trophies, they are fined heavily. For example, if one commits an offense relating to an endangered species, they are liable upon conviction to a fine of not less than 20 million shillings or a life imprisonment.
20 million or life imprisonment?
Yes, depending on the evidence that will be presented.
Yes.
If this horn will be directly linked to an area where a rhino was killed,
yes,
there are various offenses you've committed.
Yeah.
Illegally entering that area, you've killed. This is an endangered species. You are handling a horn. Maybe you killed using a firearm. Yeah. So illegally handling that. So there are various charges will be.
A list of
a list of charges.
That will be.
And if you are found handling trophies illegally, then you are liable upon conviction to a fine of not less than 5 million shillings. Okay, 1 million shillings or an imprisonment of not less than 5 years.
Wow.
Yes.
So imprisonment, but before it was, I mean, the law was not that harsh.
Yes.
On the poachers.
Yes.
And is there anything we can do as individuals?
We can do as individuals. This particular day provides for organizations, members of the public to actually celebrate the rhinos in their own unique ways. So donors, partners can contribute to organizations involved in conservation of these rhinos, sharing information about rhinos on social media platforms. Yeah, we can do classroom projects. We can organize for cleanups, peaceful demonstrations. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So demonstrations using social media to raise awareness.
Yes.
Those who'd like to donate can donate.
Yes.
And so on and so forth.
Yes.
So that means even myself, I don't have to have a job in the conservation field.
You don't have
to play a part.
Yes.
I can do whatever I can regardless of my background.
Yes. Oh. Some organizations get their revenue from tourism-related activities. So if you can be able to support the local tourism, that is, you'll be supporting these organizations also.
Yes.
Yes. We need to visit these areas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. As a rhino monitoring officer,
yes. Yeah.
What does your work entail?
The main role is data management on these rhinos. At the end of the day, you will be asked, how are rhinos doing? Are they increasing? Are they decreasing? Yes. So it's data management. That one has to be reported to the management and give recommendations what has to be done to ensure that this species actually increases rapidly. Yeah. So that's the main role.
The main role.
Yeah.
Is there any way you link with the Kenya Wildlife Service?
Yes, through reports. Kenya Wildlife Service is the custodian of all the wildlife in the country. They are actually directly involved in the management of this species. So we have to communicate with them on a daily basis or once in a while how the population is doing. We report birds, the deaths, to them. And then in terms of the database is managed by KWS. So when we key in the information in the database, we share it directly to the KWS.
Oh,
yeah.
Wonderful. What does a typical day at work for you look like?
A typical day, when I get to the office, first is to ensure that the data collected from the field is keyed into various databases. One of these data is the sightings data. These animals are being sighted on a daily basis. Yeah. And this it's not only for analysis, to get the data for analysis, but also provide security to these animals when they are being sighted on a daily basis. So when I get the sightings data, this data has various fields that are keyed in or recorded in the data sheets. We have the rhino names or the ID, and all our rhinos are well known. The locations, the body conditions, any of the activities that they are doing or the behavior at that particular time is recorded. So this is keyed in the various databases that we have. Then secondly, after finishing with that, I also link up with the guys in the field, maybe to co-train them with various monitoring protocols that we put in place. And the field also get photos of the rhinos to be used as evidence that we have a certain number of the animals or the rhinos in this area.
Oh. Yeah. So it's a whole lot of work,
yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's not just a small amount of thing. You wake up, go to the field, and then go back home.
Yes.
You've talked about body condition.
Yes.
What is that?
Body condition is the condition of the animal. Sometimes the weather conditions change. We get to the dry conditions, or we have the rains. And so things change. You find that there is not enough feeding material for these animals. So you will find that the body conditions will become poor. That in a layman's language, that they sometimes become thin.
Okay.
Or emaciated,
Oh, so when they grow thinner, they grow fat, they are affected by the weather changes.
Yeah, we observe that, and conditions are worse, and they lose their body conditions, become poor. Then there are measures that are the interventions that come up, like we provide supplementary feeding to the rhinos.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. There is something about the rhino population in Lewa in relation to the national population.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Lewa Borana landscape. Now currently it holds 14% of the national rhino population. Yeah, and you can see the rhinos have really increased from an initial population of 15. Yeah, you talk about more than 200 rhinos in the landscape.
From 15 to 200.
Yes.
That kind of makes Lewa a champion in rhino conservation.
Yes.
Right?
In fact, Lewa is well known for rhino conservation.
Rhino conservation.
Yes.
And that means you're doing a good job, right?
Yeah.
There are some people out there who would like to be wildlife expert like you, or specialize maybe in rhinos, just like you. What kind of advice would you give them?
To begin with, is to develop that interest in conservation work.
Yeah.
This can be done, like for example, for primary school pupils or for students in high school. They can engage in themselves in activities related to conservation, like forming wildlife clubs in their schools, and then going outside for exercises like cleanup exercise around conservation areas. And then in wildlife, they can do various activities like going for birds, going for nature. They can even organize outside trips. This will actually enable them to develop interest in conservation. Then after finishing that, they can actually enroll themselves for a program in wildlife management, diploma, degree. Yeah, and that is it. They'll be able to find their way.
The way into
this field, yeah.
Yes. And then we have recent graduates complaining that it's so difficult to come by jobs in the conservation field.
Yes.
So where do they need to start?
There are various opportunities that they can explore, and this will enable them get jobs or find what to do in conservation. Like right now, conservation is shifting much to community wildlife. Yeah. So within this, they can actually find initiatives or projects around in communities living around conservation areas, and this will enable them attract funding. And that's how they'll be able to contribute to conservation. The other way, people can volunteer, like going for internships, and this by doing so, they are getting that experience. So when a job is advertised, yeah, you directly get it.
Yes. So volunteering with organizations puts you in a position where you're gaining experience.
Yes.
But then you're also likely to come across opportunities easily.
Yes.
And also that's an opportunity to network with experts in the field. And also you've talked about starting, let's call them community-based initiatives. Yes. And then we have institutions out there funding such activities, right? Conservation-based activities. And they can apply for these funding opportunities. Okay, that's wonderful. So far, Mr. Onzere, I've learned so much about the rhinos already.
Yes.
But I'd love to know, do we have anything interesting, any interesting facts, interesting behaviors, anything interesting we need to know about the rhinos?
Yes. There are so many. Just to mention,
yes.
Rhinos, they are well known for their horns.
Yes.
The horns are made up of the same material like the human nails or hair, that is keratin.
Keratin, yeah.
And these horns, when they break, they are able to grow back gradually. Yes.
So just like our nails grow, our hair grow,
yeah,
the rhino horn is also.
Yeah, that is. So when they break, they are able to grow back gradually.
That's really nice.
Yes.
So basically, the rhino horn is different from the horns of the other animals.
Yes.
Any other?
There are also other facts like rhinos have poor eyesight, but have a strong sense of smell and hearing.
So let's say I'm walking 30 meters, right?
30 meters.
30 meters away from
distance that the rhino can be able to see.
Then against the wind.
Yes.
So they'll not be able to see me in any way.
Yes, if you are against the wind, and you don't make noise, you can get closer to them. Yes.
Wow.
So you can get closer to the rhino and you move away unnoticed. When the rhino guy cannot be able to notice you.
Wow.
Yes.
Any other?
There are also other facts. This rhino, like it has a good relationship with a bird called the oxpecker, and it's also known as Ascariwa farm or friend to the rhino. So the bird benefits from the rhino by feeding on the insects or the ticks from the rhino, and then the rhino benefits by actually when the bird notices that there is danger around, it will actually alert the rhino, and it will either face the danger or it will flee.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there is a symbiotic relationship between the rhino and the oxpecker.
Yes.
Wow. I think we need friends like that, even as human beings.
Yeah, we need to be.
If we can befriend the species we have around us, I'm sure there is so much help we can get from them, more than we are getting already, right?
Yes.
As a rhino scientist,
Yes.
you must be familiar with the scientific names, which I think most of us find really challenging to, keep in our brains.
Yes.
So, can you tell us the black rhino's scientific name, white, and all those other rhinos you mentioned?
For black rhino,
Yes.
the scientific name is Diceros biconis. That is the scientific name for the black rhino.
Diceros biconis.
Yes, but they are subspecies.
Subspecies.
So I'll name the 3 subspecies we are currently having. Like we have the subspecies called the Diceros biconis michaeli. We have the Diceros biconis minor. Then we have the Diceros biconis occidentalis.
So the Diceros biconis michaeli
is the eastern black rhino.
And the Diceros biconis minor
is the south central black rhino.
And the Diceros biconis
occidentalis is the southwestern black rhino.
Southwestern black rhino.
Yes.
What about the white now?
The white rhino, the 2 subspecies we have. I told you the scientific name for the white rhino is Ceratopterum simum.
Ceratopterum simum.
That's the scientific name. And then there are subspecies.
Yes.
The 2 subspecies. The northern white rhino,
yes,
it's called the Ceratopterum simum cottoni. And then the southern white rhino is the Ceratocerum simum. Yeah.
So, wait, Ceratotherium simum? Simum is the
southern white rhino.
The southern white rhino.
Yes.
And then the Ceratotherium simum cottoni is the northern white rhino.
Correct.
And then the northern white rhino, you said there is this scientific intervention.
Yes. Currently, in vitro fertilization is they are trying to see if it can work. So before Sudan, the last male northern white rhino died as sperms were extracted. Yes. And currently, they are extracting immature eggs from these females to see if they can fertilize outside the body. And then if they fertilize, then they can be put in a surrogate southern white rhino. Yeah.
But then you talked about the challenges.
Yes.
They are facing.
Yeah.
One is old. Right?
One is too old.
Too old.
Yeah.
And then the other one is
has uterine conditions.
Has uterine conditions.
Yes.
So is there a possibility that this scientific intervention is going to work?
Yes, we have hope it's going to work.
Yes. Okay. So let's hope for the best, right? That this is going to work.
We hope we are hoping.
Really hold our breaths and see whether scientific intervention can bring back species.
Yes,
yeah. But the most important thing I think we really need to do is to act before we lose all the species.
We need to act, actually.
We don't need to get to this point where we are struggling to bring back species on the brink of extinction.
Yeah.
When we can actually take care of them, play our part to ensure that they don't get to that point.
Yes, time to act is now.
The time to act is right now.
No other time, yeah.
So let's take care of what we already have.
Yes.
Yeah, and not wait any longer. So thank you very much, Mr. Ken.
Yeah.
Now This
sanitize.
we really need to sanitize. But I've learned so much today about the rhinos, and there's a lot I guess we don't know about a lot, right?
Yes.
We don't know a lot about a lot. People don't know so much about animals. Personally, I've learned. I don't know about you. I don't know how much you've learned about rhinos today. But Mr. Ken, in conclusion.
In conclusions, these are challenging times. See, the world right now is grappling with the corona issues. Conservation organizations have also been affected. My appeal is to donors, partners, well-wishers who've been supporting various conservation organizations to continue doing so, because we don't want to lose these species. This disease is here, and after a few years it will be gone, and we want to retain these species. So let's continue supporting conservation work. Yeah.
So people can donate. You also said where they can travel, right?
You can visit parks to support local tourism.
Yeah. And this is where now I need to emphasize that if you want to explore Kenya, explore and experience the best of Kenya and support conservation at the same time and community development, Escape Safaris is the company to work with. So, any shout out to anyone supporting the conservation work?
My shout out will go to the guys in the field, the rangers, the anti-poaching teams, the field monitors, the scouts, the communities. They are doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
So, and without what they are doing, the dedication, then I think we could be speaking something different.
Yeah.
But just want to urge them to continue with the same work to ensure that this population continues to increase.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are putting their life on the line.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Mr. Ken. We've sanitized already. I don't know whether we need to sanitize any longer. I mean, we miss handshakes, right?
Yeah. We have to social distance.
Social distance.
This was 1.5 meters.
What
we can extend to 2 meters.
2 meters.
Yes.
But we miss handshakes as well.
We miss handshakes.
But let's hope this corona will go away. Then we'll go back to life. Will go back to normal.
Life will go back to normal.
Normalcy returns. Then things will work.
Yes.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard about the rhinos, the challenges they are facing, how important they are, what we start to lose when we wipe them out from the surface of the earth. So let's play our part. Let's not wait until when the species are on the brink of extinction in order to take action. We can act now. Mr. Ken has explained what we can do as individuals, what we can do collectively. Let's not wait. I'll keep stressing on this. Let us not wait. Let's take care of the species we have already. Asanteni sana. Stay safe. Sanitize. Keep social distance. Let's fight corona. Let's support conservation work. Asanteni sana. Some say you might be asymptomatic and
You
you
might
don't
be
know.
having, and then you make me infect the rhinos.
It's zoonotic.
Yes.
Corona is zoonotic. So, someone ate a bat,
Yes.
and then now we are all affected. And we are, you spend a lot of time with rhinos in the field.
Yes.
So if you are infected, God forbid, then you're likely to transmit it.
So I don't want to
You don't want to get
spread this to our pleasures animals.
let's hope rhinos are resistant to corona.
But we haven't reported any case.
We haven't reported any.
But I know how is this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Let's hope it will stay that way.
I know they won't be affected.
They won't be affected.
Yes.
Yeah. Sawa.